Welcome to the soapbox. Apologies for starting this off with laughter. I hope everybody's doing okay, and I hope everyone had a really good day. I do these videos in succession, so if it sounds like I'm being somewhat familiar, as if I'm in that continuity as opposed to just kind of starting a video, that's why. So this tripped me out, and I've been sitting here laughing at this for the last 5 minutes or so. I thought it was funny when I first saw it, and if I'm being honest, I was somewhat buzzed when I first saw it, which definitely gave me a hearty laugh. And for whatever reason, the perspective of that is still stuck in my head today. So when I look at this video again, I still kind of laugh at it in the same way. Joy and Reid show. This gentleman right here. This is Kamala Harris's husband. What do you notice about Kamala Harris's husband? It's a nice suit. All of these are nice suits. He has a decent smile. Looks like he's checking her out right there. I mean, they're still close. And look at this. Look at this. It's a cute couple. That's what I see. Apparently, however, some people, particularly on the Joy and Reid show, don't quite see it that way. Joy and Reid show has guests, and the guests come up with this outrageous statement, making the argument, not just one, two guests, making the argument that she needs to ditch her white husband on the campaign trail, and she needs to find herself a strong black man. Now, I'm going to let you hear this, but this is somewhat an insult to African Americans, because you have to ask the secondary question of what needs to be true for what they're saying to be true. Meaning, what needs to be true for their logic of the way the world works. Let's do first, and then think of that as you listen to them make this argument. She needs a strong black man to stand beside her on the campaign trail in order to solidify the African American vote, because African Americans will be alienated with the white cat standing beside her. I find that claim to be utterly and entirely outrageous. I don't think African Americans are so base in their perspectives of the world that they would look at Kamala Harris, and the distinguishing characteristic between Kamala Harris and other candidates is the fact that her husband is white. Not necessarily the policies that she's going to espouse, but they want to stick it to her because she's on the campaign trail with a white husband. Nonsense. That is nonsense. If people dislike Kamala Harris, they're going to dislike her for other reasons. They may, I've met a person here or there every so often that look at the world through the context purely through the context of race, and may take issue with this, but those people are few and far between, and certainly not to a point where he's a political liability to her just because of the color of his skin. Let's take a look at this. I fundamentally disagree with this, but let's let them have their say.
Black men, blue-collar black men, they're going to have a problem with her record. And you're right, Queen, she's not the only person. But I will say, I think the African-American community expects more from people who looks like us, particularly a candidate who wants to represent us. So she needs to find a strong black man advocate who can be in her corner at some point on the campaign, at some point in any space in her campaign. That I would say that was my key advice. Find a prominent blue-collar, self-made black man to be in your corner.
Let's just be candid. When you're saying that she needs to have an advocate out there for her, it's not going to be her husband. She's got to surround herself with African American women.
Black.
He says, let's be candid. Let's speak plainly. When you say that she needs to surround herself with black men, which is, if I'm being, honest and candid, that's a straightforward statement. There's no clarity that's necessary in that particular statement. But he says, let's be candid. That will not be her husband, that white man. That would not be that white man. She's a strong black man. A blue-collared, self-made, powerful, utterly and entirely powerful black man. Because the black community, for whatever reason, will not accept the fact that this guy is supporting and stumping for his wife. Don't get me wrong. I would imagine that Kamala Harris, like the other candidates, will probably have a multicultural group that's surrounding them. It's at this point, based on the way we have running the campaigns, particularly within the Democratic Party, that's probably going to be guaranteed. So she's going to have black men on the thing, but it goes beyond that to say, not this guy. I gotta hear this again. This is awesome.
Black men, blue-collar black men, they're going to have a problem with her record. And you're right, Karine, she's not the only person. But I will say, I think the African-American community expects more from people who looks like us, particularly a candidate who wants to represent us. So she needs to find a strong black man advocate who can be in her corner at some point on the campaign, at some point in any space in her campaign. That I would say that was my key advice. Find a prominent blue-collar, self-made black man to be in your corner.
Let's just be candid. When you're saying that she needs to have an advocate out there for her, it's not going to be her husband.
For some reason, I love that line. Let's be candid. Let's just be honest. Like we're just sitting there talking to one another over wine at a Starbucks somewhere. Let's just be candid. Let's be honest. Keep that white man off the campaign trail as representing you, and get yourself a strong black man to be up there representing you. It's not that I necessarily am against her getting a strong black man advocate or anybody else as an advocate. I think my issue here is the idea that her husband can't represent her, or that her husband can't be an advocate for her, and that somehow her having this white man as a husband diminishes her capacity to represent somebody else. Personally, I think these things will break down more along the lines of issues of class. But there's something inherently bothersome with that statement. Like, imagine if the roles were reversed. Let's say Kamala Harris was black, or let's say she was white and she had a black husband. And Fox News comes out and says, if she really wants to get the vote of her constituency, she really needs to have a prominent, strong white man come out there, and she needs to leave that darky at home. Now they wouldn't say darky; they would say that black husband at home. But you can imagine this gets a little gross when you put it in those terms. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. This was somewhat weird to me, and it came across a little strange when I first heard it. I just thought it was funny more than anything else. But that's such an odd thing to say. Maybe she's right. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be completely wrong on this. And maybe people are driven by their base desires, meaning the basic thing of, she has a white husband, so I don't want to give her my support. But God, I doubt it. God, I doubt it. And I am more terrified if that's true than if that's not true. You know what I mean? It's like if Obama had a white wife, and they would say, well, you need to keep that white wife off the campaign trail because, you're not going to get the black woman's vote if they're seeing you with this white woman. As a policy has nothing to do with this. As a policy has nothing to do with it. All right, I'll end this. Bob Ramirez, he better be gay or else he doesn't pass the Sanders litmus test as a full person. What? What do you got? What the hell are y'all talking about? All right, I'll end this here. Like I said, this one wasn't going to be long. I just thought this was hilarious. Most of the voters are white, so a strong black man would help more than her husband. Bob Ramirez said they want to keep your eye on the wrong things. Yeah, Bob. Bob, I think I agree with you on this one. But hey, Joy and Reid is African American. The people who were talking were African American, and maybe there was a context to which they were having this conversation. My context of looking at this is through the lens of, what are the policy things that the people are going to do when they get in that office? I don't care if the husband was white. I don't care if Bernie Sanders was married to a man. I don't care if Bernie Sanders was married to a transvestite. I don't care if Bernie Sanders was married to, add whatever you want to add in, a hipster. I don't care. Like, I try to get across, I don't care. What is he going to do in that office? That's what I care. Do I believe what he says when he gets into the office? Those are the things that matter to me. Kamala Harris having a white husband doesn't meet that list. just saying. All right, I'll end this here. Amanda Shaw. Hi, Jamal. Noose up here. What's happening, Amanda Shaw? Welcome to the club. Soapbox After Dark. No husband of color, no vote for me. Danny Knapp. That's essentially what they're saying. I don't care who Sanders is married to as long as they're not white. Andrew Church. What? Buzzsaws on TYT right now for members. Oh, man. I got to see that. I want to see that. All right. I'm going to end this here because I have other videos. Like I said, I have like 4 or 5 more videos that I need to do for tonight. I just thought this one was absolutely hilarious. I didn't mean for this one to go long. Oh, let me make sure I didn't miss anyone. Okay, good. If you guys enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support through PayPal or Patreon. Also, on Sundays, my wife and I have the Patron Appreciation episodes where we do the weekend review. Those have been awesome for the last few episodes. Immediately after the episode, it goes private and essentially only goes for patrons. We've been adding additional content for patrons, and we've been engaging patrons far more because, I gotta be honest, I don't trust YouTube. And in my distrust of YouTube, Patreon has been the thing that has been the, I guess you can say, security blanket of some sorts, or at the very least, almost like a peace of mind, because you can see it. But not just Patreon. I mean, people contribute through Patreon, PayPal, however they want to do it. I guess my point is, it assists the show, and the additional content has been pretty badass. So, I'll end this here. Thanks all. I'll see you guys in probably about 10, 15 minutes. Have a good night.